Okay, so what I'm trying to do is once again explain my take on that 25% and 75% white versus black people that go to church that truly believe what they believe. I don't know how they came up with those numbers. I read it in a news report. I generally I judge a news reporter's or a news agency's credibility on a article by article basis, but I also kind of keep a running track of whether or not they're just inflammatory or whatever. That's kind of my own bullshit filter. To me, that says that black people acknowledge a spiritual existence a lot more than white people do, or rather that they engage in one despite the things they may not agree with. I don't believe that everybody truly agrees with the Bible unless it serves them. 100%. You can't agree with the Bible 100% and have a rational mind based on the teachings of modern day Southern Fried Christianity, at least. There are many flavors of Christianity, so I am not speaking for everyone. I'm speaking for the largest segment that I know of, the one I grew up in, evangelicals. I've really unpacked the whole thing, and that's what I'm doing for you, is unpacking the Christian religion so that you're going to understand how it invades everything in our country, our ways of thinking, our ways of interacting with each other, the tribalism that we are currently experiencing in America is all based on the idea of know your close community and no other, and believe everything that your community says 100%. So there are different schools of thought. When I was married, I went to so many different churches trying to find somebody I could agree with. Never did find it here in Oklahoma. But you can see more about the differences in Christianity, Christianity in the rest of the world compared to Southern Fried Christianity, as I'm describing it. There is a guy out there that is saying, I think American Heresy or American Heretic, and he is a liberal Christian pastor in Oklahoma. So, and he talks about how the villainization works. He highlights a lot of the differences between the Republican Christian way of thinking and the liberal Christian way of thinking. And it's not all about being gay or abortion or gun ownership or things like that. It's underlying. It's looking at what underlies all of those that mindset that I'm trying to highlight here. And I don't mind. I've thought it all through, so I don't mind engaging in debate with someone. But I will tell you this: I will suffer no fools when it comes to debating the merits of Christianity. Because there are many different things in Christianity that nobody ever sees, because nobody ever reads the Bible. They just read what, cherry-picked verses, and this is what I'm basing my sermon on. Now let me tell you what to think about. Let me tell you how to think about it. And that can be a good thing when it's not such a narrow-minded viewpoint, when you're not viewing the world through rose-covered glasses. So until those rose-covered glasses are removed, until those basic assumptions are addressed, we're never going to see any kind of real change in our society. Now, we got to be real careful about structuring our society, if we decide to, in such a way as to not become a bunch of people saying Kumbaya around a campfire, because we do live in a really messed up world, and there are real world threats out there that we have to guard against. But if we can repair our own wounds and our own ways of thinking and connecting with our fellow man, then we can expand that good outward influence even to our neighbors to the south and start really changing the hearts and minds of the world to accept an upper limit on power over the average person's life. That is the real goal here, is to get an upper limit on the government's control over our lives, and also to a billionaire's ability to exert influence and power. That what I'm proposing, what I'm talking about, my idea is a compromise that works for everybody. Instead of trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater like everybody does on both sides. They refuse to accept that there may, or to admit that there may be good in a plan if it's not their plan. And that's all about maintaining a power base, that might makes right, and that is the only rule for our nation, is that economic might makes right. Period. That's our only true value system for good and evil in our country as practice. Might makes right. So until the protests fill the street enough to overcome the might of two monologues speaking to two different crowds, people get tired. People lose hope when they lose momentum. And during a COVID-19 crisis, you're not going to see the number. You're not going to see the number on the streets that you should have, that you would have. I'm in a high-risk category. I can't leave my house. And that's a personal choice. I'm not stuck in my house. I could leave if I want. I go outside. I'm not isolated and alone. I talk to my kids. But I am not able to get out there shoulder to shoulder with you in the street, even with a mask. I'm a smoker, over 50. And, you know, I've seen so many different things about COVID-19. We don't know what to measure a person's risk factor besides age. That's the only thing we know. And me being a smoker puts my biological age much higher than my physical age. And I have a child who's immunodeficient, so I can't play games with this. But otherwise, I would be out there with you. Not just me. All the people that disagree that might makes right. That you can villainize and criminalize and create the chaos and then restore order and take the credit for it. Doesn't work like that. Used to. And it still does to an extent. But until we break down that wall of disbelief, misinformation, and indifference, we're not going to see any kind of changes in the world at all. And we're not going to do it by attacking the right. We're only going to do it by, I believe that if we see such a suppression of voters' rights during this crisis in our nation, that we're going to erupt into chaos like never before. So they can't win this time, guys. They just can't. We're going to have to demand accountability for everybody is, not just Black Lives Matter, for the first time.